Are young women in Hollywood all about the glitz and glamour? Think again. While there are some chihuahua and designer handbag-toting girls decked in all things pink strutting around Hollywood, there's a darker side rearing its head. Some young actresses are making waves because they're refusing to be just the girlfriend or the daughter. They're leading ladies in their own right, and they're not afraid of channeling the dark and twisted side of their roles. One of these scream queens is on her way to being a certified horror legend, and she's making sure you'll never forget her name. Who is Anya Taylor-Joy? If all the shows and movies you watch are rated G, you probably won't be familiar with this actress. But if you've watched The Witch and the movie Split featuring James McAvoy, then you might recognize this star's face. But before we talk about Anya, let's explore actresses who have managed to break the mold from being cast in conventional ditzy roles and why that's such a big deal. Young women in media are depicted in a certain way. Back in the early days of film, girls were often portrayed as princesses waiting to be saved by a prince. What were young women in movies if they weren't waiting for their knight in shining armor? Sometimes they were the girl next door, pretty, a bit plain, and rarely outspoken. Yet this is the girl the leading men always ended up with. There are also roles of the it girl, a popular, sometimes mean young lady who totes tiny designer handbags and snags the varsity jock during prom. Opposite her is the shy and quiet nerd who eventually gets a makeover to look just like the it girl, if not better, and steals the show. Roles like Reese Witherspoon's Elle Woods in Legally Blonde changed things up a little. Her character was strong, intelligent, and multi-talented, but she didn't give up her all-pink wardrobe, her cheery attitude, and her love for parties. The ending of Legally Blonde is like most movies with a female lead. It ends with a proposal. Young women in Hollywood are marketed as carefree, lighthearted, sweet, and charming. In movies, they're the best friend or the wife, the mother or the fiancé. When a young woman enters the film industry, they start out with the roles that don't disrupt, disturb, or defy. But in recent years, we're starting to see a change. What was once all rainbows and butterflies is turning into something dark and even sinister. Take the 1996 sitcom Sabrina the Teenage Witch. This lighthearted and family-friendly comedy series was about a high school girl with magical powers. But Melissa Joan Hart, who played Sabrina, was making people laugh more than she cursed them. With her witty talking cat Salem and her silly aunts, there were a lot of smiles in the quirky Spellman household. Fast forward to 2018, 15 years after the final episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Netflix comes out with a reboot of the sitcom, but almost everything looks completely different. The series is entitled Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and if you're looking for the familiar witty humor and enviable magic tricks, you're in for a shock. The Netflix series is a dark, supernatural horror show that really focuses on the witch part of Sabrina's life. It shows dark spells, human sacrifices, and gory monsters, not to mention Satan himself. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina isn't the only example of TV or movies switching it up for a more twisted theme in recent years. Even superhero movies like the Justice League have a more sinister feel to them. With the rise of zombie flicks and psychological thrillers, Bird Box anyone? It seems that people are done with everything being sunny and bright. Dark and goth themes have been around for ages, but it's becoming more mainstream in current times. For some actors and actresses in Hollywood, having a dark or goth look could be their edge. In the past, stars who looked relatable and conventionally pretty were desirable. Now, Hollywood may be learning a thing or two from the high fashion industry. The more unique and different you look, the more popular you can become. New and young stars are breaking the mold, saying that they no longer want to be the cutesy girl next door or the friendly girlfriend just waiting for an engagement ring. One of these rising stars is Anya Taylor-Joy. Born in Miami, Florida, Anya Josephine Marie Taylor-Joy is the youngest of 6 children. Despite being born in the United States, Anya spent most of her childhood between Argentina and England. She lived in Argentina until she was 6 years old. Her parents then decided to pack up the family and move to London for a better life and more opportunities. At the beginning, Anya couldn't understand why she had to leave Argentina. She could only speak Spanish and missed her friends. She was used to having a life being spent outdoors, surrounded by animals and nature. Moving to London was completely different, but her parents wanted to raise their children away from the dire political situation in Argentina. When Anya got older, she understood her parents' decision and is now thankful that they did what they did. Anya Taylor-Joy grew up surrounded by many adults. Her siblings are much older than her, and she spent a lot of time with her parents as well. From an early age, she gained a lot of trust from her parents because of her maturity. Ever since she was a child, she dreamed of being an actress. But she attended school like other normal girls and even took ballet lessons. It wasn't until she was 16 years old that she got her lucky break. Anya, at 16 years old, was a highly independent young lady. She told her parents to leave her at their home in London while they went on a long-term and belated honeymoon abroad. She's been living alone ever since. She also wrote her parents an essay on why she's she's dropping out of school to focus on her acting career. While walking around Harrods, a department store in London, Anya was scouted by Sarah Dukas of Storm Model Management. In between homeschooling herself for fun, Anya was booking gigs as a model. During one modeling gig for Love magazine, Anya was joined by the cast of Downton Abbey. While talking to Irish actor Alan Leach, she read him some works by Seamus Heaney. Leach was so impressed that he referred her to his agent. Now she's represented by the same agent under Troika Talent. Anya's first lead role was as Thomasin in the 2015 mystery horror film The Witch. It's a film set in 1630s New England about a family accusing their eldest daughter Thomasin of witchcraft. Director Rob Eggers had a small budget and wanted the film to be shot purely with natural light. This meant Anya had to do grueling work that didn't just include acting. In an interview with Vice, Anya recalls picking buds off trees to make the scene look more desolate. She said they were battling everything from the elements, the money situation, the time constraints, and more. This role definitely helped prepare her for more challenging ones in the future. The recognition and nomination started coming just after Taylor-Joy's first film. She bagged Best Female Newcomer by Empire, a British magazine, as well as the Seattle Film Critics Award for Best Youth Performance. She also won the Fangoria Chainsaw Award for Best Actress for her role as Thomasin. Anya was just getting started. She very early on established herself as an actress perfect for dark, serious-faced characters. Her next lead role was the title character in Morgan, a sci-fi thriller directed by Luke Scott. The role of Morgan meant facing new and difficult challenges for the young star. Anya describes herself as an empath, a term for someone who is very in tune with the emotions and feelings of others. Anya explains this as picking up the energy of everybody else in a room with her. When filming Morgan, Anya had to spend a lot of time in isolation, watching everyone else from behind soundproofed glass. It was so hard, she tells Vice. I need affection to survive, I really do. But not long after the film's release, her hard work pays off. Anya Taylor-Joy was nominated for the BAFTA Rising Star Award in 2017 because of her work for Morgan. She was also nominated for Young British or Irish Performer of the Year by the London Critics Circle and as the Gold Derby Awards Best Breakthrough Performer. Anya Taylor-Joy was making a name for herself, and in the horror or thriller genre no less. It was an odd place to be for a beautiful young actress, but Anya never felt more at home. Though Anya was making waves in the film industry for her first two major roles, she was still relatively unknown to director M. Night Shyamalan. That didn't stop him from casting her as one of the leads in his psychological thriller Split alongside James McAvoy. In this horror film about a man with dissociative identity disorder, Anya plays Casey, one of the kidnapped teens. In the end, she emerges as the sole survivor from the kidnapped group and hero of the story. Some of the critics have stated that Anya seems to have mastered the art of darkness that so often shades her characters. Anya Taylor-Joy is clearly earning her title as a Queen of Darkness, showing that her secret to being a rising star is accepting roles that really call out to her. While most young Hollywood actresses would start out with lead roles BFF or leading man's girlfriend gigs, Anya isn't afraid to channel her dark side. In an interview with The Guardian, Anya says that she didn't have a clear path to playing such dark characters or starring in horror films. She just connected to her characters, and it just so happened that they inhabit very dark worlds. Where most would find fear in working in the horror or thriller genre, Anya finds joy. She explained to The Guardian that it's really fun to play out dark stuff because you get to feel out the extent of your emotions. As an actress, she finds the humanity in pain and darkness and translates that on screen. Complex, interesting, and messy characters are what Anya prioritizes when it comes to choosing roles. She says that whenever she gets a thankless daughter or girlfriend role, she sends it back. You won't find Anya playing a superficial character who only serves to make a male role look better. Anya wants to showcase that women have a lot more going on underneath the surface than you might originally think. In 2018, Anya's role still clung to the shadows but showed some cheeriness and optimism. She starred in the film Marrowbone, horror movie centered on paranormal beings haunting a family in their home. Anya's character was primarily cheerful, but the premise of the movie still brought out the darkness. Several critics found it refreshing to see a dynamic, multi-dimensional character in a horror flick. After all, people can feel more than one emotion. In her role as Lily in Thoroughbreds, Anya Taylor-Joy shared the screen with Olivia Cooke and the late Anton Yelchin. The dark comedy thriller was well received by critics and audiences. Anya's role in this movie was a tad less stone-faced than her previous ones, but she still channeled the hair-raising and twisted darkness that could soon be her trademark. Anya Taylor-Joy may be young and already a BAFTA nominee at 22 years old, but despite her newness to the industry, she's proving to be a hard worker to watch out for. In the 4 short years she's been acting, she's already already racked up 23 roles. Most of them are horror roles, labeling Anya a true scream queen, but she's looking to broaden her range. Range is crucial in making a lasting career in Hollywood. Anya's preferences for dark and dangerous characters may be the secret in making her a unique rising star, but she knows that variety is what will keep her fresh. After all, no one likes a one-trick pony. Anya's future is definitely one to look forward to. Her latest released project, Glass, is the sequel to Split and the second installment of the Unbreakable trilogy by Shyamalan. Coming up in 2019, Anya's got her role as Ilyana Rasputin, or Magic, in The New Mutants, another super dark film. She's also set to play the lead in the film adaptation of Jane Austen's Emma. She's come a long way from being the 14-year-old who chopped her long blonde hair off and dyed it pink. The headstrong scream queen is headed for the stars, and despite her penchant for all things dark, Anya is a star that's shining brightly. There you have it. One of Hollywood's newest stars has a strong will and a love for characters that are pained and twisted. What do you think of her as a rising star? Will she last in Hollywood? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to The Talko for more.